Hello, Uncle Arbery. I am going to very briefly clarify my position for you, or what I meant by this post, rather, because I saw your comment down here saying that you hope you're reading what I'm saying incorrectly. Um, my statement was that I wonder how many people would want a bunch of protesters in the operating room while their surgeon is trying to perform surgery, while they're blowing whistles, honking horns, and causing a ruckus, etc. My point is simple. It's that people have only a finite amount of mental bandwidth to throw at any given task at one time. And that when you start throwing multiple inputs in them, those can become distractive, right? We've all been in the car talking on the phone. We need to merge traffic, or there's something going on in the traffic that we feel demands more of our brain power. So we'll say, hey, hold on a second. I need to merge on the highway or whatever it is. You do that, and then you go back to your phone call after you feel like you have freed up that extra bandwidth. So when ICE agents are going around and I don't know, I'm not an expert on ICE agents and the things that they do, but when they're going throughout these communities and trying to perform their job duties, and people are following them day in and day out, yelling and screaming, blocking lanes of traffic with their cars, blocking lanes of traffic with their person, um, blowing whistles incessantly, and all this other stuff. I personally think that it is reasonable to think that that is going to decrease the ability for them to do their jobs both effectively and safely. Um, Obviously, part of the reason that some folks are doing it is to prevent them from doing their job effectively. But now you start to create these negative interactions with the civilian population, not just the illegal migrant population, but the American citizen civilian population with ICE agents when they're blurring the line between protesting and interfering with an officer's ability to perform their duties. And it also frustrates me that I see people on the left, not normal people like you or I, but people on the left, such as Crystal Ball of Breaking Points, right? She used to be on MSNBC. These are serious people. I used to really like Breaking Points. I was trying to find her tweet, but I can't. I did not find it. I did find the story using AI to help out a bit. There was a story back in Rochester in September of 2025 where there were some roofers who were on a roof. The long story short was ICE tried to detain them or whatever. There was a standoff where the workers remained on the roof and they refused to come down. A crowd formed, and the crowd ended up managing to force ICE out of the neighborhood. In the process, they damaged one of the ICE vehicles, slashed the tires, blah, blah, blah. I didn't look into the story in depth, but I remember seeing it reported on Twitter because Crystal Ball shared a tweet about it and stated something along the lines of, "This is how we fight back." And I remember thinking, this was before Renee Good died. I remember thinking, this is how we fight back. This to me does not sound like a good recipe for civilians to be following ICE around, or looking for us to be looking to our civilian population to enter in these types of physical. Like I said, they vandalized the vehicle. I don't know if any of the ICE officers had hands put on them or not, but clearly, if you got 100 protesters and 2 to 3, 4 ICE officers, from a crowd control perspective, there's strength in those numbers, and they can kind of force them out of at least the neighborhood for that day. I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's a good strategy. I think that folks on the left who encourage this type of stuff are putting the people who are going out and performing these actions at great risk. Um, some people are dying, as this gentleman today we saw on Twitter and CNN, all that good stuff. I just don't think it's a. I don't think it's a smart thing. I think that protesting is one thing when you're doing it on the sidelines. When you're protesting is such that you're counting it as a win when you success. This is how we fight back, says Crystal Ball. That doesn't sound to me like protesting. That sounds like fighting back, not protesting. And so that's largely my point. And for all the goofballs out there, I'm not talking about you, Uncle Aubrey. All the goofballs, Sal, Ryan's a bootlicker, and all the crap that I've taken from family members and friends, and blah blah blah. Yeah, either y'all have reading comprehension or listening comprehension issues, or you're just not paying attention. I have said multiple times that if I were king, I, Ryan Ellis, would legalize all of the illegal immigrants that are here who've been here for 5, 10, 20, 30, whatever years, didn't have papers, but have clean records. I, however, am not king. The Democrats lost the election. I realize that some people on the right, when polled, do not agree with with the way that ICE is going about some of this stuff, but some of that is based on the optics and what's being reported and how it's being reported. But whatever. But at the end of the day, Mr. Trump won the election, so you got to take the L. You got to take the L. I don't know. I'm not the king. You're not the king. As soon as he gets in office, people are out here yelling and screaming, um, fighting back in the form of kicking federal law enforcement out of neighborhoods and stuff like that. You guys can do that if you want. I don't think it's smart. I just as soon wait a few years for a Democrat to get elected, and then you guys can, and the pendulum can, keep swinging back and forth, back and forth. I stopped caring. I got food to cook. I gotta go.